by Trayvon Scott. Cincinnati by 1. Rose from half court. His shot is no good. John. The snap, the put down, the swing of the leg. It is on its way. It is good. Cincinnati wins the American Championship.
Here comes the quarterback, Pearl, looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown! What a skipper! Called his own number and streaks for 23 for a touchdown for Cincinnati.
Welcome back. It is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. I am Aaron Smith. We have Ed Mayhall with you. Jeff Howell here as well, even though his basement is in shambles. So, gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well.
I'm doing great.
My basement should be in shambles for the next 5 to 7 weeks.
Well worth it in the end, though, right?
It should be. We'll find out.
Can't wait to see the before and after pictures.
Right. Empty concrete basement to hopefully a place where I can go down and watch games on a really big TV and whatever else my wife designs down there, then she can hang out. But I just need the TV and maybe a stool.
Nice.
Ed?
Yeah, I'm doing great, guys. I got the audio's working great. I got intros, and I don't hear my thing in the background, and Clay's already picking on me. So this is good show.
We're on par for the course, really.
On brand.
Yep.
On brand, yeah.
I mean,
brand.
It's only a matter of time before Ed spells something wrong. So.
Plus, I just tweeted our favorite person.
All right, so
excellent.
Let's. I know that you're going to be watching the Reds game, so feel free to fill me in because I'm going to be looking at other things throughout this podcast that are not the Reds game. So at the time, it is 9:27 p.m. Currently, the score still stands at 3-1. Yes.
5-1.
5-1 because of that home run. I forgot.
Yep.
Yikes! Home runs aplenty already in this game against the Angels.
Should we start it off? I mean, Hunter Green gave up a 3-run bomb. Should we just cut ways with him? I think we should cut him.
Cut you.
That's a horrible take. I mean,
one a mini.
So we're gonna talk some Bearcats basketball because since we last recorded, we didn't actually get to talk about that horrific showing in Houston. So we're really not going to talk about it because there's no real reason to talk about it. We also didn't get to talk about, I think that's the only game that we missed, right?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
That's the only game we skipped.
As we recorded with Clay. So in that time, we've played, since we recorded with Clay last week, we have played and won a game against Tulsa. We have played and won a game against Tulane, and we lost what I thought was much closer than I anticipated against Memphis. But let's get back to Tulsa. Tulsa felt to me like a game that I had not been scared in the games, against the close game against Temple, the close game against UCF, the close game against Tulane back at the beginning of the month. I thought we were going to give this one away. And Jeremiah Davenport had the lay-in in the last final seconds of the game. What did you guys think in that game as we pull out another close game, which, I mean, all of our games for the most part this season, the wins anyway, have been very, very close.
I mean, you got to look at what we had going into that game where Harvey opted out. In between Houston and that, correct? It wasn't before Houston. I mean, going in, we had
Yep.
We had 1, 2, 3. We had 9 guys going into that game.
Scholarship players, yes.
Yeah. So you got that. I mean, another guy that's
Harvey
you know.
didn't play against Houston either.
Okay. I mean, maybe that's part of the reason that he opted out. I didn't read much into it. I mean, this is just one of those years where like you got to kind of look at things for face value. What they are is like he's not playing a whole lot. Probably dealing with the same kind of things that you've got David DeJulius is opting out, mentioning some mental health things. If that's the case, you got to take it for what they're saying, and you got to let them step off to the side. And if they got to get their mind right, if that means that they got to transfer somewhere else, if they got to take a year off basketball, who knows what it is. But mental health things are stuff that you don't really mess around with.
Well, at this point, I don't think we've seen anybody actually enter the transfer portal.
Correct.
So,
I don't think anybody has.
Unless something got reported since we started recording. So you still have Harvey as a member of this team. It doesn't sound like he's going to be coming back from all indications. Weirder things have happened, to be completely honest. And then you saw DDJ, and all indications at this point are that he plans on coming back. I know Justin Williams of The Athletic wrote an article that's out there right now that can be read. I haven't had a chance to check out that article yet, but I think he posted that today. So there's some stuff out there about the DDJ opt out.
And I think DDJ's opt out, you could tell before Justin's article even came out, that was a lot different than Harvey's. I mean, before the Memphis game, before the
Tulane game.
Yeah, the Tulane game. He had put on Instagram, which I think is his only social media he has. He had shared the men's basketball, the flyer, whatever they put out, saying "Go get them, boys." And then after the game, he shared something else like, way to go to team. It was different wording, but you could tell that he was still like invested in the team, where it's Harvey. You haven't heard from him, and I don't think he's coming back. So
yeah, there hasn't been like a thank you Cincinnati post or anything from Harvey. And kind of going back to our interview with Ethan Tuckey, as he was talking about just how weird this whole season with COVID and everything has been. They pretty much, from what it sounded like, they're all these players are pretty much going to practice, going to games, and going home, like to where they're even having meals delivered at home. So it's not like, even if you wanted, like as you and I could, if I wanted to go have a beer with you somewhere, socially distanced, wearing our masks, like we can do that. These guys can't do that. They're not able to go out and go to restaurants or go to, just to go kick it with the boys. Like, Ethan talked about he didn't even hardly see his girlfriend.
Yeah, which if you follow any of these guys on Snapchat or any social media platform, I mean, that's what they did, all the time. That's all they shared, was them out, hanging out, walking the streets of Clifton, going to bars, going to restaurants. I mean, they're not getting that cohesionness.
You mean prior to COVID is what
prior to COVID, correct.
Yeah. Right. Yep. I mean, you got to think back to, when you were in college or that time in your life, like a lot of it was going out, hanging out with your friends, going to the bars, going to parties, the social aspect of it. I mean, even just hanging out outside,
mine was not suitable for work. So
no, I doubt it.
Everything that I did in college was pretty outrageous.
And then you bring up Ethan Tuckey, and he just put out a tweet. Was it last week? Maybe it was over the weekend. About his mental health through COVID, and he's starting some sort of, outreach program or whatever it might be, to help other players. So it's everybody's saying it was Brandon, and I don't know. I am still a little weary that we don't have any signs, we don't have any commitments yet, but it's just a weird season. It is. It's crazy.
And I know with football, they talked about how normally you have roughly about 1,000 people in the transfer portal. And with the not having to sit out a year now and all of that, I think they estimated that there's going to be roughly about 1,500 players in the transfer portal this year.
which is crazy.
It's absolutely bananas to go up, 150%.
I mean, it's like free agency.
Kinda.
I mean, basically.
Not having to sit out, it changes the dynamic on all of that.
How many could players come together like LeBron did back with the Heat? Like, could players just come together and go, let's start a super team over here at like Wright State or something and take the world by storm? I mean, it's all in their hands right now.
Yeah, and you go back to Ethan and you talk about him wanting to talk about the mental health aspect and him wanting to reach out, and I think that goes back to everything that he was talking about, in his interest in psychology and how he wanted to be a psychologist once the football story is done and over with, and that's the next real chapter of his life once football's over. So it's cool to see him kind of doing some of those things, and just kind of getting back to the basketball program. Who knows what these guys have been through. Keep in mind that they're all freshmen and sophomores outside of Chris Vogt and Keith Williams and Mamadou, I guess, since he was part of the surprise senior day. But other than that, these guys are all either new or transferred in here, so there hasn't been like just a real concreteness to everything that they've gone through this year in general.
And I actually think, we kind of talked about it a couple weeks ago. Is it a possibility of Williams and Vogt coming back, for that eligible season? Williams sounds like he's done. Like everything he's tweeting, like, hey, I'm, thanks a lot, Cincinnati.
Right.
Even though Nick Van Exel retweeted him and said, you're not done yet.
Yeah, because they got another home game.
Couple games after, yeah, but
they rescheduled that Vanderbilt game. So
you got Vanderbilt, and then ECU's not at home. So,
and then tournament play.
Although the question is, will that tournament get moved with this stuff that happened? I mean, I guess they could still like put the same protocols in place, which I would kind of hope that they would. But
it doesn't mean that you're not exposing yourself a little bit more as you get off the plane at the airport or get food anywhere, even if you're ordering it. There's just some other factors there, but
which I think the arena said that they were going to do 25% capacity, which gave it to like 3,500 people, something like that. But they never mentioned anything about masks or anything like that. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw my tweet. I did tweet to the American Athletic Conference that they should probably have the game here in Cincinnati since we follow the COVID protocols. And we do have a really nice parking lot that Memphis can practice in, So. Make sure they have the finest of accommodations. You know what I mean?
That's a solid tweet, Ed.
Thank you. Nobody said anything about it.
It's the football team that practices in parking lots.
I know, but still, it's like we throw it out there anyways.
It was a reach.
I
appreciate the effort.
It's effort. It's content.
Content is king.
That's right. That's what Gary Vee says.
It's true. Hey, Gary Vee's a smart guy.
Smartest guy I know.
So we pull out the win against Tulsa, and then was what I think we can all chalk up as the most exciting game of the year for Cincinnati fans. And a blowout that, while it is Tulane, I don't think anybody saw coming because, even Tulane at home, we played Tulane at Tulane, and we only pulled that win out by 3 when we still had everybody. So here we are with a 91-71 win. What did you guys think about the coming out party by the young kids?
I'm going to say, so if anybody has been critical of the Bearcats this year, I have been very critical. I know that we've all had our moments, but I've literally, I tweeted out that I didn't see anything that led me to believe that there was light at the end of the tunnel anywhere under the John Brannon system with what he's doing, anything. I hadn't seen anything all year that made me think, things are going to get better, and it's going to get better sooner than later, until the Tulane game. And I realize it's Tulane, and I know when we were talking about it when the game was going on, I said, it's nice, it's Tulane.
Right.
But that core group of young guys that they put on the floor that were running and gunning and just playing fast and making baskets and playing defense, they gelled well together. It appeared to be what John Brandon talked about when he first came here, the kind of offense and the way that they were going to play. It looked like the first time that system was really able to get put in, and I realize it's because it's guys that he recruited to put into his own system and not trying to fit other players backwards.
Square pegs, round holes.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And I maybe I've been kind of unfair with the fact that, like, implementing a new system and having COVID and less practices and less ability to put it together the way you would normally be able to do it. That's probably a little unfair. I still don't mind being that critical. It's just kind of comes with the territory of, being a Cincinnati fan of sports.
That's fair.
But, you look at it and people are like, oh, they never make it past this part of, the tournament. But when you look at it, you kind of always expect to get to the tournament every year. You expect to
we've been spoiled.
You expect to beat the majority of the people the majority of the teams that you play. I do throw out the early Mick Cronin years, the first two, because that was a real bad situation. I mean, he was he had the bottom of the barrel going in. He had football players on the court. I did see Evan Prater asked if they needed a guy. He was pretty good in high school, so he could probably still get out there and play.
Why not?
They were also in the Big East then. I mean, like, they were. To me, it's apples and oranges trying to compare that stuff. I know Ed's real big on comparing it and defending his guy, but to me, it's not the same. But here's the other thing: we probably wouldn't necessarily be going through these types of growing pains if COVID wasn't a thing and Brandon had been able to have more time and the players had been able to have more time on the court with each other and not worrying about all of the other extraneous things that they have to do to stay within the protocols. And
I mean, if you don't have COVID, though, you might very well have a Gabe Matson. You might very well have...
Oh, that's true. Absolutely.
A Zach Harvey, a DDJ, and you'd be going into these games against a Houston and a Memphis with three guys who were much higher recruited than the guys we have on the team. So
would we be seeing the Brandon style of basketball in that situation? Because I think, with having all those guys out and having to play with John's guys, I think we finally got to see his style of basketball, like the style that he wants. And I mean, I rewatched the second half because I watched the first half and then I had to leave for the second half, but I rewatched it and I listened to it on the radio. But there's one point when Tari Eason got fouled or something, put back foul or something like that. And it was a TV timeout and he went up to John Brennan and he's like pointing at John Brennan talking, and him and John Brennan like chest bumped each other. Like it was like
neither of them were smiling either. Like they weren't happy.
But you could tell that was like an intensity. Like they were
sure.
Yes. Yeah. At first I was like, oh, here we go. Let's not do that. But
it was almost like the emotions were finally like just running over, and like it was all coming together. Because I mean, you saw Jeremiah Davenport have himself a day, 10 for 16, 4 of 7 from 3, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 27 points. You saw Mike Saunders finally he's starting to look confident with the ball in his hands. He's looking confident shooting the ball.
Let me tell you that
We'll get to the game against Memphis.
Mike Saunders might be one of the fastest people alive. And I know he likes to go by Ice Mike per his tweet.
Yes.
But I would rather just call him the Flash.
But he had a good day. He was 3 of 7 from the field, 1 for 3 from the arc. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 points. Micah Adams-Woods, he had 16, 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Like the guys all did big things. Tari Eason finally played some real minutes, 28 minutes, 8 for 8 from the field. He had that one bank shot that he just threw up a prayer, went in, throws up his hands like, I don't know how the hell that went in, but the rim is 3 miles wide right now.
You're talking about, Dan Horde said that the clock, the shot clock was went to go out, saw it was at 1. It's like threw it up there. Yeah.
He was 1 for 1 from the arc, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, 20 points, and he finally stayed out of foul trouble with only 2 personal fouls. That was a big deal for Tari. Outside of that, Mason had 25 minutes logged that game. That was, I think, probably a season high for him as well. 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3, 6 boards, 3 assists, 11 points. So, these guys are all finally contributing in big ways in a big blowout. You mentioned that second half, and in that second half when we really pulled away and had built that 20-point lead, because that wasn't a lead that we had built across the entirety of the game. That just kind of exploded in the second half, and that was with all freshmen and sophomores on the floor.
And Madsen has the smoothest catch and shoot of anybody I've seen in a UC uniform in a long time. I'm telling you right now.
Better than Field?
I'm telling you right now, it is the smoothest catch and shoot I have seen from anybody in a UC uniform in a long time.
Better than Field Williams?
Yes.
Wow.
His movement off the ball, I mean, he's finally starting to actually play some extended time here.
Yeah.
Right? And his movement off the ball is incredible. And then he doesn't even he needs enough of a gap to shoot the ball. I mean, just maybe yay wide, and he's getting it, and it's going right up. There's no hesitation. There's none of this and then he's got to dish it off. He doesn't look like one of the second graders in the instructional league that I coach in. They catches the ball, dribbles down to the corner, and is like,
he was add on to the package. Like he was just like, we were really going for Gabe, and then he was just be like, oh, if you're gonna get me, you're gonna get my brother. And okay, I'm down with it. You know what I mean? Like he's out 2 hours before the game shooting. I think
he was out there. I don't know who. Somebody put that picture up of him out shooting free throws after the game the other day.
And so that makes me wonder.
Was it after the Memphis game? Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder.
2 from the line in that game.
Because a lot of people were worried if Gabe was going to come back next year. Now that he sees the success that his brother's having, does he come back next year?
I mean, I don't know that I ever really thought that he was going to necessarily leave, and maybe he does. I mean,
Well, if you listen to the Bearcat Bounce podcast from last night, there was a Gabe Madsen sighting at the arena it was 2 nights ago that they played. Sunday.
Right. Yeah, he was with his mom.
Yeah, he was there with the family. So
yeah, I think the family was inviting the whole team over for Thanksgiving dinner. I think it's what they were doing.
Yeah, I messed all that up. That's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, he was there at the game, so it was, good to see him back. It sounds like they're still, as a family, very supportive of the program, and I think Mason's really found a home, and he wants everybody to know he was 451, and he is out to show you he was better than 451 as far as recruiting goes.
Well, then, was it Justin tweeted about?
he
threw up that alley-oop. and Tari was nowhere near it, and coach was like, why would you do that? He goes, yeah, but it would have been sweet if it would have worked, huh, coach?
Yeah,
That wasn't the
basically. They were out there having fun.
They were,
sure.
And that's, I think, the difference in that Tulane game is they were actually having fun.
And that was the first game that we saw without the, one of the leaders on this team, David DeJulius.
It was also the first game that we had seen with fans back in the stands.
There is that. So that brings us to Memphis. And the Memphis game on Sunday was a weird game. I know we were all tweeting in our group tweet, the three of us, and with a minute left, I thought that we had thrown in the towel. I even said, Mama was in the game. Why is he in the game? We are giving up on this game. And then all of a sudden he scores 5 points in almost like Reggie Miller against the Knicks in the playoffs type way.
Let me start from the beginning. I'm going to say something about the end of the game, and then I'm going to back it up with something from the beginning of the game. The final score was 80-74.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Bearcats lost.
Correct.
That's a difference of 6 points.
Oh, no. Here we go.
We spotted them. I get it. I understand it. I know why you do it.
So I'm going to run this. I'm going to run this by you guys because I ran this by Chad and Brent last night. But I feel like there were unwritten rules that Penny broke by running a full court press against walk-ons and doing nothing but shooting threes. Like, that was all they did the whole time that these seniors were in. They only shot threes and they ran a full court press. And I think it was kind of bullshit.
I mean, you've got your starters out there. That's what it's going to look like when you run your. You don't
have to run a full court press though, man.
No, he's right. You like he was being a real bitch about it. To be honest with you,
well, because he lost to Cincinnati 4 times.
Here's the thing: is you are never, ever, ever going to get anything resembling respect from Penny Hardaway against UC. It's not going to happen.
No.
He got dumpstered on 4 times by the Bearcats.
Yes.
And then he won 1 game his senior year or something against them. I guess the next year they ended up winning 1. They took 1 from UC. But
something like that.
He gets dumpstered on. He's not going to come out and be like, all right, look guys, like, they got their walk-ons out there. We're not gonna press them and try and do anything. They were legitimately trying to run up the score to 20-0 before John Brandon pulled out the walk-ons and the seniors that don't normally play.
Well, and we talked about it in our group text as well. Maybe he left them in a little longer than he should have.
Well, but here's the other thing:
dead ball.
How does Mamadou Diarra turn the ball over 755 times in a 2-minute span? And why on earth did he think it was okay for him to take the ball up the court? On his last one?
Doing that,
it's cool when you were jacking up threes and hitting them back in the day. It is not. It is not all right for you to you've already turned it over twice, and then you start dribbling up the court, and he legitimately looked like one of the second graders in the instructional league, dribbling the ball all the way up here, but he's 12 foot tall, so the ball's all the way up here, and then he just boots it out of bounds.
Took a page out of Quadri Moore's book.
Quad squad.
So I mean that was obviously there was a lot more game between losing by 6 and starting off spotting them 6 points that happened in the middle. But you look back on it, it's kind of.
I mean, if you want to do that though, you look at all the free throws we missed.
No, I mean absolutely.
Yeah. I also think there was a big difference and I think you mentioned it, Aaron. They had a 10-man squad and we had 7, and they also have some big guys in there who, by the way, complain a lot, but they got some big guys in there who, I mean, just manhandle.
Who's that? CC? Is that his name? Sing Sing?
Say?
Yeah, that guy. Standing 9'4" with his reach.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous. And then every time Tari Eason just checked in, it was a foul. So he got 5 fouls right away, and it was ridiculous.
I mean, the foul thing is going to have to be cleaned up. A lot of them are, you know, you want to call them ticky-tack, but they're fouls. And
although I am watching,
you need to clean a lot of that up.
I'm watching the Memphis South Florida game right now, and there's 2 minutes left in the first half, and it's 31-16. So
Memphis.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and
is Penny wearing his chin diaper?
Yes, he absolutely is. Which, by the way, can we wear him or don't wear him? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well,
there was one ref
you're talking about moving a tournament because of protocols. If you're not going to follow protocols at all, what the hell does that any of it matter?
Well, that's a good point, actually. Never mind. I still think we should move the tournament game to Cincinnati, though.
What I don't understand is why they're not wearing a mask. Like, I feel like half the time when they are wearing masks, they'll wear it until somebody's close and then take it down to talk to somebody close. Like, that's the opposite of what you should be doing, man. Like, if you're yelling and they're all the way on the court, fine, I get it. But you don't pull it down when you're trying to talk to somebody up close. No. What
I was watching the West Virginia versus Baylor game earlier, and one of the refs had a hole cut in his mask to put his whistle in. I'm like, that just defeats the whole point of it. So it is what it is.
How much spittle is pushed out of a whistle?
They have those. There was somebody that had like this like crazy looking like gigantic like weird whistle thing that looked like it like
bubble over the whistle.
Yeah.
Let's Google it. COVID safe whistle.
COVID safe whistle. But
so,
anyway,
I was happy to see they never gave up. Even in a game where it looked like it felt like Memphis was in complete control the entire game, and then all of a sudden it came down to the wire in a game where it never felt like it should have ever come down to the wire.
I mean, let's be honest. Is anybody really gonna would anybody really talk about it necessarily if they gave up? I mean, they've got 7 guys, 8 guys that, I mean, they're running up and down the court. You know what I mean? They should be in decent shape, whatever. But like, I mean, you're gonna get tired playing a full game like that when the other team can rotate guys in and out. You're in a season that is likely not going anywhere, barring a miracle in the conference tournament. And
when you run as fast as Mikey Saunders,
dude, that guy, he's so fast. And
when you run that fast, though, I don't know how he had any gas left at the end of the game, and he still was going.
Let me
19 points though. He had 19 points, 6 from 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. He had
turnovers. How many turnovers do you have?
Let's see. He had one turnover.
That's what I'm talking about.
1 foul.
The speed at which
and he made free throws.
Here's what stands out to me with that is like, you see a guy that plays like he does, like 100 miles an hour, like his hair's on fire, right?
But I don't think we saw that before the Tulane game, really.
We didn't, and that's what I'm getting at. Is so he's got the ball. There were several times where he had the ball coming up the court, and there was the ever so slightest lane that opened up that he could get through, and instead of like thinking, let me try and get the ball, let me try and pass the ball off over here, let me slow this down, he was foot on the gas straight to the rim
into the redwood forest.
I mean, he zero care, and it's not like he's like 12 foot tall. and but the thing is, he was getting around everybody. He's not dribbling and going so fast that he's overrunning the ball or booting it out of bounds or turning it over.
Right.
He's
Memphis did.
He's controlling the ball as he's dribbling. I think he really could turn into something special there.
And he was 5 of 7 from the line. He got to the line often in that game. He was drawing fouls, and we haven't seen a point guard like him. I asked him last night because I had talked to a friend of mine even prior to the podcast last night, but I wondered, who does Mike Saunders remind you of? My best friend and I, we couldn't figure out who in UC's history he resembled. Chad says Devin Downey. When Devin Downey was here for the 1 year under Adam Kennedy.
Andy
Kennedy, sorry. But yeah, it was different.
I mean, it's just nice to see, and I think it went for a lot of those guys, the younger guys, whenever they were on the floor. And I want to say it was Mike Saunders that they talked to after the game, who said, like, oh, it wasn't lost on us who was on the court, that we were all, the freshmen and the sophomores, and like we were going out to show what we're made of, and they got it done. I mean, like I said, it changed my outlook a little bit. I realized it was against who it was against, but they kind of brought it again against a Memphis team who I thought could potentially blow us out the same way that Houston did.
And they didn't at all.
And they didn't. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, UC should have won that game.
Well, and honestly, Memphis should have wore them down. They run 10 deep.
Yeah,
you're right. UC should have been dragging on the court at the end, and they weren't.
No.
Whatever reserves they dug into, whatever pride that they have in the name across their chest, I mean, I'm good with it.
I'm here for it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the kind of energy that I like to see, and if they can roll it into I don't know much about Vanderbilt, so I don't know what to really look for in that game. I'm glad that they picked up another game on a day that they have available, and hopefully that way a lot of those senior parents can get there for what was supposed to be senior night, so they can. I think Keith Williams' family or whatever wasn't able to make it to the other game, which obviously made sense because. What's that, Ed?
I hope they didn't cancel their flight.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can get here, and then.
Well, I got a little bit pulled up on Vanderbilt here. They're 7-13, so not a great year for them. They are playing in a little bit different conference than the American, though, as they are SEC. But Scottie Pippen Jr. is averaging 20.5 points. That being Scottie Pippen, the Scottie Pippen. So it's not just like a coincidence that that's his name here.
Played with Kenyon Martin Jr. At Sierra Nevada High School.
Like the beer?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe it's not called Sierra Nevada High School, but it's Sierra something in California.
I mean, it may well be Sierra Nevada. I don't know. I'm just saying maybe the maybe the beer is brewed out there. I don't know. But yeah, 7-13, not a great year for them.
Sierra Canyon.
And Jerry Stackhouse is their coach. So, they have that going for them.
They have a Fila sponsorship?
I don't think anyone has a Fila sponsorship.
Ooh.
That's sad.
Is it?
I like Puma.
That has nothing to do with Fila.
What?
They're old shoe brands from back in the day. Okay, well, I tried.
I'm looking at Vanderbilt's playing right now. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that.
They're on the SEC network, so I don't know if you have that on your streaming TV. But they're actually down 20 right now to LSU.
The Reds have brought it back a little bit here. It's 5-4 in the bottom of the fifth.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yep.
But yeah, Vanderbilt's getting their asses handed to them. I think it's 74-54, I believe.
I have it.
Yeah, with 5 minutes left in the game, so it's not pretty.
Oh, I mean, it's another game.
Question: what's with the super bright shoes this year?
I don't know. I'm here for it though.
I mean, I like them, but they literally just showed a preview of the Vanderbilt game before I tried to pull it up on the TV, and they were wearing bright shoes as well.
It doesn't look like Scottie Pippen Jr. is playing tonight. I am not seeing him in any of the stats here. So perhaps that could be why they're down 20, as they're missing a 20-point per night.
Oh, are we gonna play that game with them now?
I'm just saying. I mean, they are missing their guy. I can only imagine how much. I mean, we don't have anybody averaging 20.
Not right now.
What are you referencing?
I don't know.
It's not right now.
I mean, we could in the future.
Cool.
We could, right? I mean, okay.
I love you, Ed.
Yes, we could.
We could next year.
And then there was the I know that we're still on UC basketball probably for another couple of minutes here, but there also was the fact that they just clinched a first round bye in the AAC tournament.
Oh, is SMU done?
Well, from what Chad tweeted out, that won't have any bearing on what UC's bye would be.
How the hell did we get a first round bye?
Great question.
I don't know. I don't know all the maths.
We're in 5th place.
Yeah, I don't know all the maths.
I don't know how that works.
I can wake my son up. He knows math. I'm trying to look it up right now on the AAC's website.
He's 6. Unless
7.
Houston opted out.
Well, let's see here.
SMU.
Chad tweeted and said UCF beats Tulsa 73-69, and Cincinnati has clinched a bye in the AAC tournament. And then he said, as it currently stands, UC is set to be the 5 seed and will face number 4 SMU. We shall see if SMU can get on the court, as their past 8 games have been canceled due to COVID. Their last game was on February the 8th. So I don't know if maybe that does change things now. I don't know.
What seed are we?
We were
4th seed.
We were 5.
But I'm good. I mean, if we got to play SMU, we would be the 5 seed.
Yeah,
Yes.
5 seed is the first round bye.
Oh, really?
5 seed does get a first round bye?
Yeah, the 9, 8, 10, 7, 11, and 6 seed have to play in the first round.
Oh, it's because Tulsa lost, not SMU. I was wondering how SMU.
Yeah. I mean, SMU. I mean, who knows? They might not play again.
They might not be. Yeah, they may be done.
And it's also a good point. Maybe Houston opts out of the tournament. I mean, I don't know why they would.
Are we about to make the NCAA tournament by COVID?
No.
I mean, who knows, right? Texas.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, somebody brought up this weird I mean, I don't think we would be a filler team, but I mean, if enough teams opted out of the NCAA tournament, I guess there's some crazy chance they would be like, hey.
Yeah, Melvin tweeted that earlier. Like, what
you want to be the 65th team in the tournament?
I'd be curious if we even made the NIT, to be completely honest.
There's not going to be an NIT this year, is there?
I don't think any of the other tournaments.
I thought they were running a smaller NIT.
We could look that up.
I could be wrong. In any case, the future's looking bright for these young Bearcats, and we're starting to see the team gel in ways that none of us really expected it to do the rest of the season. And to Jeff's point on his very long soapbox he had earlier, there is a light at the end of the tunnel right now of this season.
the NIT is hosting 16 teams in Dallas, Fort Worth, so we could just stay in Dallas and go to the NIT.
More Texas, more Texas. Can't wait. Christ,
It's wide open, just like Florida.
Really? Oh, I guess it was supposed to be at Madison Square Garden, but
well, Texas has everything open.
Now it's in Texas.
So,
okay,
moving sports here. I know we had our round table last week with Clay. We have a couple games under our belt now for spring training. Tonight's not the first game, yeah?
second.
No, second.
Second game. So, did you guys get to catch any of the game or stats or anything?
I didn't see a whole lot out of the first spring training game. It wasn't televised. I listened a little on the radio.
Same here.
13-5 wasn't pretty. I mean, we saw the final score 13-5 against Oakland.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see it. I thought it was like 5-6 or 5-6, 6-1 or something.
Were they playing dual squads?
Split squad.
Oh, they could have been. That's a good point.
They may have been. But yeah, it was not pretty. Although Clay's boy Heineman hit a home run.
Yeah, so they must have been playing
Split squad.
No. They played Sunday against the Indians 5-1 loss, and then they played yesterday 13-5.
Yep.
Against the A's. Then tonight they're playing against the Angels. It's 5-4 going into the 6th, and then tomorrow they'll likely face Trevor Bauer on the mound from the Dodgers. I would assume that they will run him out to start the game.
Did you see what his agent tweeted?
It's nice to be on a team that produces runs.
Did she really tweet that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
A lot of people took offense to that, but I went back and retweeted the video that I recorded off of his podcast or his vlog where, the minute when he knew he wasn't going to be a Red was when Joey Votto held up at third.
When they didn't send him. When he's screaming, send him. I know. Man, come on, Ray Chalupa. God.
It was actually, he needed this kind of run support after what happened last time he was on the mound.
That's exactly, yep.
Oh. That's sad.
That's petty though, man.
But I'm here for it. It's true.
I don't know.
True.
I don't like that baseball has no salary cap and you can run the Angels and the Dodgers all the way through the roof with these insane salary cap numbers. Somehow the Padres have entered that game with two guys making over $300 million. I don't even know how that's possible in San Diego. What are we doing here?
I don't know. And
I don't know.
It doesn't look like there's anything that's going to fix that anytime soon.
No, because
here's the thing. I mean,
like
even whenever they
anything in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, they just.
So we got 7-inning doubleheaders.
I do like those.
Yeah,
I love.
We all like those, and we all like the DH, but can't have all good things.
Here's something we didn't talk about last week. Can we get some more afternoon games since we're all working from home? I really enjoy.
Not all working from home. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, not all of us.
Okay, since I'm working from home, can we get some more afternoon games? Because I really enjoyed pulling those up on the Google Hub and listening to those while I'm working or taking my lunch break. And
I will say I do like the 6 o'clock starts or the 6 whatever starts.
I hope they run 100% night games.
Although I will not like those when I am back to work because then I got to leave work early to get to a game.
I hope they run 100% night games.
Just because, okay, that's nice of you.
And I hope they tell you that you're not allowed to buy a ticket to any of the games that aren't at night.
That's because I don't have the vaccine. I told Michelle the other day, getting on Facebook and seeing all my friends getting the vaccine is kind of like back when all my friends got the iWireless phone and we're all texting each other and downloading cool ringtones and playing Snake. And I was still sitting here waiting for my check from Low Bill to be cashed on so I could go buy mine. Just feel left out.
Well, there wasn't social media, so how did you know who had them and who didn't?
I mean, you go to school the next day. It's like, oh yeah, I talked to Tony last night. I texted him, and I'm like, oh shit, I wish.
Oh, I think Ed froze.
We lost him.
Oh, no,
I'm
there
still
he is.
here.
Oh,
Still-
you froze. You froze after you texted Tony last night.
It's like you go to school the next day, and it's like, hey, I already knew that. I texted Tony last night, and I'm like, well, I wish I could text.
But that's all well and good. But let me talk about Hunter Green from tonight.
Dun, dun, dun.
One, I said this, and then I ran it by Clay in our other little group that we talked. Hunter Green looks like he's bulked up quite a bit. So hopefully that, maybe that'll keep him a little more healthy. Throwing 103 miles an hour.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah. You're talking a starting pitcher that's throwing, Aroldis Chapman level fastballs.
It's because he's playing with somebody else's rotator cuff.
This is true. But I was impressed with what I saw. I mean, he was throwing the ball hard. I mean, when you look at it for what it is, he hasn't been on a mound in like 3 years, and he went out there, gave up a bomb, whatever, but he looked healthy.
Ed really liked that one. He's still going.
Yeah.
All I have in my head is when they trotted out the people or the guy who gave Carson Palmer his kneecap.
Oh my god!
And they're like, "Thanks for it's like all of Cincinnati had to thank the guy for donating his kneecap to Carson Palmer so we could still play football." Like it was ridiculous. Look at my head. I'm sorry.
But I mean, obviously, I don't know there was anybody that thought that like Hunter Green was gonna like crack the rotation.
Not this year.
I think last week when we were on the little round table, I think Clay said he's probably more of a September call up kind of guy this year. And that's okay.
He said Lodolo was closer.
Yeah, well, Lodolo came out there. He's a tree as well. He's like 12 foot tall. He looked all right. So, I mean, hopefully he's on the road to where he needs to go, and we keep him healthy, and we don't Homer Bailey him and call him up, and bring him up early, and then send him back down and bring him up, and then.
Did you even know before yesterday Brandon Finnegan's still a part of this team?
I didn't. I didn't. I do like his last name though. So
do you think he's trying to pitch his way in? Like he had a good outing.
Here's the thing: is he said that he basically retooled the way he approached pitching. So, and if you're going to do that, the Reds organization is the place to be, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're literally the Cincinnati Reds drive line.
Cincinnati.
If they can figure out whatever it is that Trevor Bauer's doing to spin the ball that much faster without any outside stuff, I think we'll have a good stable of pitchers. If
only Rachel Luba had represented any hitters that she could have brought to Cincinnati last year along with Trevor Bauer.
Oh, you mean like a Yasiel Puig?
I heard he could hit the ball.
I mean, he's still not signed anywhere.
No.
How is he not signed anywhere?
Baseball ran him out. They hate him.
It's so weird. If you see like people, there are Dodgers fans who are like, oh, he's a horrible person to put on your team. Like, but then there's others that don't think that. Whatever. I mean, when we brought him here from LA, there was a lot of people that were saying that he will. I don't like to use the C word to describe somebody on a team that. I mean, that's silly to me, but
Cocky?
somebody. No, the
See you next
cancer.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't like to call. I mean, it's silliness. But somebody that is just a negative impact on the clubhouse and the team in general. And when he was here in Cincinnati, he played hard. I mean, think back to was it the Brewers game where he scored from Clay when he scored from
signed on here to put the wave emoji and signed off.
But I thought Yasiel was a great fit here. I mean, he was clearly a fan favorite. I know that, like, he didn't
because he tried to fight the entire Pirates team.
When he did that, he was already gone. If you recall, he
tried to fight all.
He had already been traded. Clay says he's still here.
I don't know.
So, but like, I really don't know why. I mean, I don't know
what Cal Ripken's carcass played until he was like 48.
Like, I don't know why you run a Yasiel Puig out of baseball. Like, why don't you know? I mean, he's got to be worth something to somebody somewhere.
Because he dyes his hair and he flips his bat and
he licks his bat and he does all kinds of crazy stuff. But he can play baseball.
That's all that matters.
And
who cares? He's got throw a bat.
He's got a missile launcher for an arm.
Yes. I don't understand how he doesn't have a job.
I've also
Jim
never seen
Edmonds
anybody
ran out there
swing.
Until he was 42.
I've also literally never seen anybody swing with such a shortened, abrupt swing and hit the ball as hard and far as he does.
Chicks dig the long ball.
It's true. But I would like to see Yasiel latch on somewhere. I wouldn't mind it being here. We do have an outfield shortage. A smart guy last week told me that.
What did you think about seeing Iglesias playing tonight? And
it's going to be fun, guys. Everything's going to be fun.
Ed just wants to use the soundboard.
Well, that was Puig.
You remember last year when he showed up and was signing all his papers and he's walking around a frigid, freezing cold Cincinnati? Well, I guess it was 2 years ago.
In the middle of the winter, yeah.
And he was putting all those Snapchats out there.
Yep.
I don't follow a lot of people on Snapchat. But yes.
Clay signed with Atlanta last year, got COVID, never actually signed, and then just disappeared.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully he latches on somewhere. I don't know. But back to Aaron's question about Jose Iglesias. I heard he plays shortstop.
Yep.
And he hit a pretty long ball.
Dinger.
I don't know. Although, you know what, Kyle Farmer is so far acquitting himself pretty well at the plate. Maybe he did change enough up, and he can play. He can play shortstop.
He's actually looking like he can play the part.
I mean, he can play shortstop defensively, and so far at the plate this year, you're looking at 3 spring training games. So
I know he's taking it pretty personal.
Yeah, I mean, he said he was on Twitter all off season, waiting to see if the Reds were going to go get somebody else, because obviously he sees himself as something more than a utility guy. Which, I mean, if you think about it, a utility guy is pretty important. I mean, I'm not dogging on that at all, but you're going to be a starting position player. Shortstop's not a bad spot to be.
All right, so wanted to talk a little bit about the Bengals before we head into our final segments here. They are entering NFL free agency. We just saw J.J. Watt sign with the Arizona Cardinals.
Which, by the way, was awesome. Did you see the tweet he put out that was like...
Well, because he was mad about the Peloton thing, right?
He was wearing the Cardinals shirt, and he was lifting, and it said "Source me."
Yep.
For saying he signed there?
Because he was mad about everybody was saying that he was on Peloton following people from a different organization or something. So I don't know.
Man, Clay is just going in on Ed. I was on Twitter all offseason seeing if PTP would replace Ed, yet here we are. Our budget's not that big, Clay.
They are mortal enemies. It's fantastic.
They are arch enemies. I can't wait to see the battle royale between the two of them.
So it's said that the Bengals brought in Ricardo Allen this week already, who is what appears to be a backup safety or
does he play offensive line
or a nickel cornerback. There's no Joe Thuney signing yet.
Does he play offensive line? I don't want to hear about it unless he plays offensive line and he's going to protect our Lord and Savior Joe Burrow.
As I said, there is no Joe Thuney signing yet. So
Savior Joe Burrow.
You've got enough invested in the kid. You got to protect the kid. I get it. So I don't know if they're going to bring back Carl Lawson. Rumor is that did they actually put him on a franchise tag?
Not yet.
I don't know when the deadline is to franchise tag people.
I don't know anything about that situation. Didn't we talk about that a long time ago and he was still just like in the wind?
March
9th?
March 9th.
Okay, so we got a week. So we should know something by next podcast if we're franchise tagging him. Same thing with William Jackson III. Nobody knows what's going on with him yet.
The Bengals have been... What was that? The Bengals have been... I mean, it's been kind of...
It's just Clay being Clay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Ooh. And then, everybody obviously wants to see the Thuney signing, or Thuney, or however you say his name.
I think it's Thuney. I don't know.
He is from right up in Dayton, so it's. I think Lance McAllister tweeted out the distance between his hometown and Cincinnati, like a 40-minute drive or something. So
yeah, I went to college.
Maybe he wants to come play for the hometown team.
I'm here for it. I mean, we got to protect the guy, whatever it takes.
No, I mean you absolutely have to. And then you got your first pick in the draft that everybody seems to agree and disagree on all levels. You got some people that are saying like if you don't take an offensive lineman there, you're dooming the franchise. But then you got some pretty game changing wide receivers potentially there as well.
You need one. Because apparently the sign.
I mean, who knows if AJ's coming back? Maybe not. If he comes back,
only way he should be back in Bengals uniform is if he's taking a hefty discount.
I was gonna say, I started calling him Aging Green last year, and
that's fair.
I think he could still have a spot on the team, but do they have a number one receiver right now? Like a true number one receiver?
That's the biggest question. I don't know if Tyler Boyd is it. I don't know if the kid they drafted last year. I don't know why his name 85.
T. Higgins.
Yes, thank you. T. Higgins. I don't know if either of them are true number ones. I think Tyler Boyd seems to be most comfortable in the slot, and T. Higgins is a fantastic complementary receiver. But I don't know if you have anybody right now who can really spread the field the way that John Ross was supposed to do, the way that.
Well, that was a busted pick from the start, and I said it then, and I'm saying it now, and everybody obviously. Don't draft a
5'10" receiver in the first round.
Well, here's the thing: is like don't look at a guy that runs like a million miles an hour that couldn't catch a ball when he was in college either. So like,
and he had an injury history. None of these things are new.
And then he was, whatever. He just wasn't. He wasn't a good fit, and that's where I'll stick with that.
Not sure he's going to be a good fit with anybody. However,
and then you got You got what, Jamar Chase? That's who I would go with if I was picking a receiver there. If he's available. I mean, who knows?
You could have Chase there. You could have Brandon Waddle there. You could also have Devontae Smith there.
Yeah. I'm just not.
But I don't know that I would take a receiver there, to be completely honest with you, if we haven't shored up tackle at that point.
I mean, the other thing you got to look at there is Chase opted out last year, so he hasn't played football in over a year. Sewell also opted out last year. Looking at linemen, so he also hasn't played in a year. There's another lineman that
Kyle Pitts?
That keeps coming. Was that the
tight end out of Florida?
Florida. Well, I think if you're going to get a tight end, the Minnesota Vikings just released Kyle Rudolph.
Get out of here. Don't want him.
We could.
3 years too late. Slater is the other lineman tackle that keeps coming up. Slater.
You really don't like the Kyle Rudolph pick?
No, not at all.
Go pick him up. You don't like that?
There's some. I think there's better free agent tight ends if that's the route you're going for tight end.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you gonna do? Go back and pick up Tyler Eifert?
No.
People are talking about it.
I don't want that either.
I don't either. He has a glass jaw, or no, not jaw. He has a glass shoulder.
Jonnu Smith out of Tennessee. He's a free agent tight end. Had him for fantasy. He was fantastic.
I did see that. Who's it?
Hunter Henry.
Zach Ertz was being talked about being traded out of Philadelphia.
Hunter Henry's available. Gronk is technically still available, even though everybody knows he's going back to Tampa.
Gronk ain't leaving his boy.
Jared Cook is also available.
Who else is going to be around to carry Tom out of parties and stuff?
Jared Cook is also available. Tyler Kroft is also available.
Who won that Vanderbilt game?
Kyle Rudolph.
Get out of here, man. There's like 15 guys better than him. Gerald Everett out of LA is available.
I still haven't heard you say Kyle Rudolph.
Because I won't say Kyle Rudolph. You're welcome.
You just did.
I hate you.
Gotcha.
Got him roasted.
Yeah. But no, I mean, obviously there's going to be some more things that are going to pick up around the Bengals as the draft gets closer and happens and other moving parts start. People get signed and whatnot and released. And
as free agency progresses, we will continue to throw out those updates.
Good transition.
One last thing I wanted to ask about before we move on to rounding third. You guys check out the clips from the stadium this week?
Are you talking about from FC Stadium?
Yeah.
From the West End Stadium, which is that the name of it? Is it really the name of it?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, that's their Twitter handle, I think, is West End Stadium. It's okay.
Until somebody a huge sponsorship, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's literally being built directly behind my work. So
it's beautiful.
It's a nice stadium. I mean, it looks nice. It's going to and to their credit, I am not a soccer aficionado. I am not. I've been to one FC game ever. It was fun. But they are I guess I follow some folks on Twitter that are much more in the know than I am, but I guess they're throwing some serious change around, and I don't get the whole. I mean, they said, I guess this Brenner guy that they got, they said that his team sold him to FC. Like I don't
understand anything. There's loans, and I don't understand anything. I know.
I don't understand why we're talking about this.
Our first round pick doesn't want to be there.
Well,
I don't
I think he wants. I think he's good with coming back now because it looks
Is he?
like they're. I thought they said he. I thought they said he was like.
Frankie and Maya, isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they said he wanted to. They had a talk with him. I think.
I
But
just know that
then
they
they
have
just
more
bought
winning to
the.
do.
Then I just saw that they bought the rights to talk to a player from Europe, from DC.
Jeff,
I
we've already
don't
we've
get
already
it.
tried we've already tried to talk too much about this. We don't know what we're talking about.
I know. I'm just confused, and I
Ed.
want to put it out there that if there's somebody that understands it to the point they can explain it to me like I'm a second grader, please tweet at me and send me some DMs.
All right,
And we'll
Ed,
figure this thing out.
let's round third. That is intense music. Just to ask each other some questions.
I like it though.
So, when do you guys want to lead
I'll
off?
go first. I'll go
I'm still
first.
writing. I'm still writing my 3.
Well, I'm just doing these off the top of my head because I've had an awfully busy.
Well, I'll do mine
here.
first because mine is actually a pretty good transition from soccer.
Okay.
Are you guys on side Zlatan or side LeBron?
Zlatan. LeBron's been dead to me since he left Miami.
Fair. So apparently, because Jeff looks like he's confused, apparently Zlatan basically told LeBron James to shut up and stay out of politics. And LeBron James took offense to that. So Zlatan came out again and said, politics divide the world, sports unite it. Football unites athletes everywhere. We do what we do to unite. This was my message. Athletes should be athletes. Politicians should do politics.
Ed,
Yeah.
whose side are you on?
Zlatan,
Then maybe you should stop tweeting politics.
fair. But then 4 hours ago, Isaiah Thomas retweeted that quote and said, "Shut your ass up." So I think it's a big feud between soccer and basketball.
I mean, as far as that goes, like if somebody tweets or says something that I don't agree with or I don't like, I just
Move
gotta
along.
move on.
You just scroll.
Yeah, and that goes both ways. I mean, if you say something, if that's what he believes, like
You can also
follow
hide.
that.
You can also hide words.
Like follow that path of what you believe, and do it, and
Yeah.
you don't.
Whenever I see a tweet from Clay Snowden, I just keep scrolling. Screw it.
That's bad. There's a lot of good content in those tweets.
He's one of the best.
All right, maybe next time I'll check it out.
Unhide Clay. I know he's brutal. I know he's brutal to you sometimes there, Ed, but you can unhide him. All right, mine is a pretty basic one here, but since baseball is kicking off, when you're at the park, you've got one item you're allowed to eat at the park. Are you gonna go with a hot dog with all the fixins, or are you gonna go with a big giant bag of peanuts?
Hot dog with all the fixins.
All right, so I enjoy a dog with all the fixins. I really do. But there's 9 innings in a game, and I need to prolong that, right? Like I'm not just going to eat a hot dog, buy a hot dog in the second inning, and then
you can eat a hot dog every inning if that's what you need, Ed.
Okay, hot dog.
Do they still have the dollar dogs?
But here's
The smaller ones, yes.
But here's the thing: is we all know that Ed's not going to make it 9 innings eating a dog every inning.
That's why I drink.
But I'm going with peanuts because I like peanuts. Even though a good hot dog with all the fixins is good, I would eat peanuts. Because then there's always the irritating fan that's like 2 rows in front of you, and you can throw peanut shells into the back of their shirt.
Well, and this is of course pre-COVID, but I would just find somebody else's bag that they hadn't finished all the peanuts.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to scrounge.
I sat
And
next to a guy who
And
pulled out a thing.
after paying $75 for 2 beers, you probably got to do that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Also, you can bring in peanuts from the outside because you can bring in any food from the outside.
You can buy them from that guy outside for $2, or you can buy them inside for $4.
He always tells you that's what's going to happen.
He tells you. He's like a Nostradamus or something.
All right, so are you guys going to get COVID shots?
Already did.
Yeah, probably.
Both of them.
Did you get the with the Johnson & Johnson? You only have to get one, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it just got cleared for emergency use. But I had the Moderna, and the first round of it, the day after, I was just kind of tired, and the second one was probably one of the worst days of my entire life. That's how miserable I was. Ooh. 18 hours after I had the shot, I was done for. The other thing, the worst part about it was I was watching, like, I was off work, so my 2 oldest were at school, and my youngest was home with me, and at one point, like, literally, I just was out, had like no ability to stay awake, fell asleep for probably about 45 minutes, and woke up to her sitting in the kitchen floor with a gallon of ice cream, eating it with her hands. So, I mean, she's a wild child anyway, but yeah.
I love that you're raising a what's that? The Groots? Is that where they're all cave people?
The Crudes.
The Crudes. So you're raising a Crude.
I haven't seen. I mean, she's a cave person, 100%. I mean, you got she's been on the show a couple times, not by choice, but because she's wild. So, but yeah, I did get the shot. I would recommend that folks that can do. It might suck, it might not. I know several other people that got it that didn't end up with the same kind of reaction to it that I did. But if it means that it helps out across the board, and it keeps me also from ending up feeling like that for a prolonged period of time, I'm good with it.
If it means I can get $5 bleacher seats again, everyone get the shot.
I know. We need to get to a game with Clay so that I can see Clay v. Ed in person.
Fight.
Clay knows I used to box, right?
I don't.
As soon as I see Clay, it's like this.
I don't think you're allowed to touch him because COVID.
Yeah, you won't be able to touch Clay. I don't think Clay would want you to touch him anyway. So
I lost the which slider that was. Sorry.
Okay, Ed, I think you're up for your
my
question.
Will NCAA football actually happen?
Yes. Too much money not to happen.
The video game.
The video game?
Yeah.
The video game.
Too much money for it not to happen.
Notre Dame has said they will not participate in the game.
Yeah, they said that if they don't get it resolved with the players getting compensated.
Do you think the players actually get compensated?
Yes.
I mean, it's already starting to happen.
Literally, yeah, that's literally a thing. You're like 2 weeks late on that story.
All right, sorry.
I mean, they haven't finalized anything yet, but the pieces are in place to get the ball rolling on all of it.
Clay would have tweeted that, so I knew it.
You wouldn't have seen it because you would have scrolled. So, you got one, Jeff?
I'm still thinking of another one.
All right, I'll go in the meantime. So I listen to Dan Le Batard, as you well know, and he's not with ESPN anymore and just kind of doing his own thing now. So one of the things they were talking about as they realize as they're getting older is robots are taking over everything. And they don't like that robots are taking over everything. And they go to these self-checkout lines, and the bags and the machines are yelling at you to put everything in the bag. And then all of a sudden, like, you're trying to figure out how to make this ball of cotton that you put in the bag or a loofah actually weigh something. And they're trying to figure out, like, what I'm supposed to do here. Now the screen's yelling at me. If I'm at Home Depot, it's yelling at me to put something in the bag. It's a 2x4. How do I put it in the bag? Are you guys having any issues with like self-checkout and the robots taking over?
No, robots are taking over. The first podcast that Joe Rogan did with Elon Musk convinced me of that. He also convinced me that we are cyborgs. We don't need to get into that because I will talk about that for about 45 minutes. But robots are taking over. I have a robot that vacuums my floor upstairs, then reports back to me. Robots, I mean, we build robots for web. Robots are taking over.
Jeff?
I'm all for it. My house is full of technology. I've got like 3 Google Home Hubs. I've got.
I don't want anything to do with any of those.
Why?
I feel like let me tell you this. I feel like Iron Man when I walk into my house because all I have to do is tell it to turn on the lights. The lights turn on. You know, I can ask it what my schedule is coming up. Tells me it's like having a personal assistant right there.
Turn on the TV lights.
Yeah. It didn't work so good, did it, Ed? But yeah, like I mean, my kids have an Alexa in their room that they use to turn on and off like their nighttime light. You know, if they get up in the middle of the night and they got to go to the bathroom, they just tell Alexa to turn their light on. It turns it on. I mean, everything. And Ed's struggling mightily up there with his. So
it worked just fine. I just had my phone.
I'm all for it. I mean, I've got like my front door lock is also like a.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one of those.
I can lock and unlock it with my phone. I can do all kinds of fun stuff.
If this then that thing.
Look, I'm all about it. Let's do it. Let's make everything that way. Let's make our cars drive that way. Like, you know, oh, look at that. The Reds just tied it up.
We're getting a new front door this year, and I'm going to get one of those automated locks. And I'm going to set up an if this and that. So when my phone hits a GPS or the where my house is, it'll unlock my door for me.
It's like a geofence.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now anyone listening knows that they need to just steal your phone to get into your house.
Yeah, I mean,
that door's replaced.
Steal my truck. There's a garage door opener in there.
Yeah.
Just hit the button.
Yeah.
What do you need a door for? Just.
I mean, look, you can already you can give Amazon your garage code, or if you get one of those Amazon or there's one of those Q things, I forget what they're called, who makes them, but if you get one of those, Amazon can open up your garage door for you, put your package in your garage, and walk out.
I feel like the brand Q is it's not a good brand to be associated with right now.
Oh, okay.
All right. Here's my question.
Point.
Would you rather fight Amir Garrett or John Rocker?
John Rocker.
Yeah, John Rocker's old as shit right now.
No, let's come on. You know what I mean.
I didn't.
Prime.
You have to be more.
Okay, sorry that I have to spell it out for you because I don't want to ask you if you want to fight a guy that's in the prime of his life or a guy that's like 85 years old.
He's not
that's
that
a
old.
Silly question.
It wasn't that long ago that he was making racist comments on subways. And...
Look, I'm not talking about that. I want to know: do you want to fight him or fight Amir Garrett?
That got me amped up. That's big time.
I don't know what that was.
That was Amir Garrett talking about how he's all amped up.
So who do you want to fight?
I'll fight John Rocker.
John Rocker, because Amir Garrett's that man.
He's that dude.
Yep.
He's like that.
The Reds are up 7-5.
He's like that.
Hey, he plays on Twitch a lot. Baseball.
He plays
or he
what?
did.
MLB
Yeah,
the show.
he had an MLB the show on Twitch for a while.
He was in the tournament and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was last year.
All right. Ed?
My turn?
No.
Yep.
Mine.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, yours. Who cares? Go.
Go.
Twitch? Speaking of Twitch, are you guys checking out the fan-controlled football league?
No.
Okay. It's not bad. I'm a part owner of the Beast with Marshawn Lynch.
You mean the team that Marshawn Lynch walked in, put on the uniform, said it was ugly, and then left?
But apparently, who's the old Josh Gordon is going to the fan-controlled football league, and he is going to be playing with
Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
Johnny Manziel, who apparently did not play this week because he had oral surgery.
AKA he's a bitch.
Did you see the other thing that Johnny Manziel said he's trying to do?
No.
He wants to become a professional golfer.
Get out of here.
Apparently, he plays to a scratch handicap. He was, I guess, pretty good growing up. And he's actually given himself like a legitimate timeline to legitimately get into a tour event of 12 years.
Can't beat Peyton Manning.
So he said he's going to give it a run of
12 years.
I mean, you got to think that you need to put in probably anywhere from like, you got to put in like 10,000 hours. I mean, you got to put in a lot of time.
10,000 hours makes you an expert.
The difference between a guy that plays scratch golf, which for those of you that don't know is like you basically shoots par every time kind of guy, to like a professional golfer. I mean, they're like as far as handicaps go, they're most professional golfers that probably fall in the range of like being a +4 to a +6 kind of guy. So, shoot under par on like a regular course kind of thing from the tip.
That has been Golf Talk with Jeff.
So how soon do you
think off my lawn?
How soon do you think you'll be attending a sporting event?
Hopefully opening day.
All right. Bold statement.
I've been tweeting John Cunningham to give me tickets to Thursday's game for my birthday, but
oh my God.
What?
Why do we associate?
What happened?
I'm trying to tweet at John Cunningham. Just give me tickets.
It's my birthday.
That doesn't pay $40. They're hurting for money.
I don't have $40. Sorry.
You should.
You just hear me out.
Home. You work from home. You work from home. You're not spending money on gas.
Gas is $2.75 a gallon right now.
Has nothing to do with anything.
It's gone up 80 cents since November.
Has nothing to do with anything. Next question.
Are you okay with PEDs in sports? Like if they just said, do it.
Are the Reds going to win a World Series?
That's going to happen anyway, Ed. Are you okay with PEDs in sports?
I will say,
if it was an open buffet for like everybody, like go ahead.
Oh, I'm putting conditions on it. You need to be coming back from injury.
Like you're okay, so you're okay with using PEDs to
rehab,
to rehab, but
yes.
then once you've rehabbed,
then if you pop the test, then yeah, you're done.
So you're saying that, I mean, what's the time frame after your rehabs, like you know what I mean? Like, are you gonna say
so whatever the time frame is from like PEDs should be out of your system from X date to X date?
Like before you play in like an actual game, like maybe if you're rehabbing in like the minor leagues, like so let's say baseball.
That should be part of your. Well, I mean, I think generally speaking, before somebody is like, as they're rehabbing, what have you, they don't go back to the field immediately and expect to be at 100%, right?
Right.
So you're still like, I think you can time the taking of the PEDs to where you're not testing positive to where your goal date is. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long PEDs stay in your system either. So I don't know if it's like weed where it's in your system for 21 days. Or what the case may be. So I don't know enough there to try and time it correctly. But I would think that even if you're given like a week or so grace afterwards, it's not going to do enough to skew your numbers. But I also don't know how long PEDs last in your system after they're not testing positive, but I think that you should be able to use them to rehab from injury. Yes.
Okay. Ed?
Yeah, if the Reds are going to win a World Series, or the Bengals are going to win a Super Bowl, or the Bearcats are going to win a national championship, sure.
No, everybody else is going to be better than us because they're already better than us without
They're taking the better PEDs. I'm just tired of. And let's be honest, that home run with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire was a really entertaining year. So,
fact.
I mean, I agree. To be honest, I think that they, if you want to, I guess, are they only playing 7 innings in these spring training games? I'm good with PDs. Let it happen. If that's what you want to do it. I just want to see 800-foot home runs and and pitchers throwing 110 miles an hour.
All right. Do you have a new segment for us this week, Jeff? Or are you still fleshing that one out?
No, I mean we can talk about it because I know what I'm going to start with.
Get off my lawn.
It's called Get Off My Lawn because apparently I'm an old curmudgeon. I was talking to both Ed and Aaron the other day, and it was really getting on my nerves how often people were like starting to blame the refs and like those kinds of things. And then the biggest people saying that the rim is too hard or the rim is extra bouncy and that's why shots aren't going in. And yes, that was also when I was still extremely upset with it. I didn't realize Ed made my head very big and that scared me. So that's also Ed, stop doing that.
Just all your section. I just wanted to spotlight
right, I appreciate that, but as an old person, I don't want to be spotlighted. I just want to say, here's the deal: don't commit silly fouls, don't leave the game in the hands of the ref, and don't start saying things like the rim is hard and it's not letting shots fall because the other team wasn't having issues with it. Let's not do these things. Let's just play the game and let it happen. I mean, it's like when in baseball when they're like talking about unwritten rules and all these things. Like it just irritates me. Like stop complaining about silly stuff and just play the game. Don't come at me with your rim is too hard. That was the biggest one that set me off. Because then Aaron's like, everybody in the Cincinnati media is talking about how loud the rim is. Okay, so the rim is loud.
When the rim is tight, shots don't go in.
Oh my God. Here we
Ed
go.
knows he played basketball.
I played basketball. Remember, if it wasn't for LeBron James, I'd be in the league right now.
Maybe if we have a basketball guy on here and he can convince me that it's a thing. I just don't. Everybody's playing on the same rims.
What am I?
Again, if we have a real basketball guy on here, I'm
the basketball guy.
I will take it up with them. But everybody's playing on the same rims. Like it's not like when you get the ball, they run up there and swap out the rim. Don't complain about it. Don't do it.
I'm gonna do a little bit of research on that for you.
All right, Ed.
And if an official is calling silly fouls and it's like when an umpire is calling a tight strike zone or an extremely loose strike zone, that everybody's playing under the same rules and in the same situation. Just play the game. Get off my lawn. What are you drinking over there, Aaron?
Nothing
Are we doing
yet. Yeah.
It is now time for everyone's favorite segment. What is in Ed's fridge?
I forgot that we do have that other segment at the bottom of the week, but I have it's not an Ed's fridge, but that's because we're social distancing. But I have a black and blue sour ale from High Green Brewing Company here in Mason, Ohio.
No, not. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's from High Grain?
Yes, I read it right off the can. High Grain Brewing Company.
I guess I haven't had that one yet then.
We know Ed's been drinking all that bourbon though.
What's that one in Silverton?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It is an American sour, 3.9%. Over 300 pounds of blueberries and a splash of blackberry provides sweetness to gently balance this tart American sour. In a 6-pack, even though it's only sold in a 4-pack for $12, which is crazy. I'll give it a good 4 out of 6. That's my review.
That's nice.
Great review.
I've been drinking a lot of the Braxton Brewing Garage beer. Still,
I knew you were wrong. High Grain is not in Mason. High Grain is is on Plainfield Road. What you're thinking of is a different.
Thanks for cutting off my beer review, Ed.
I'm sorry, but I had to show I was right.
I don't get out much.
But the Braxton Brewing Garage beer is very good. You get you can get a 6-pack. They're all like 16 ounces. It's like a high quality Bud Light.
We
You know why
reviewed
it's
it.
garage beer?
We reviewed it a long time ago.
Did you? Garage beer's so good.
You know why it's called garage beer?
What'd you say?
You know why it's called garage beer?
Why?
Because they wanted to make it a simple beer and a beer that could be at a smaller cost point. So it was a beer that you could drink in your garage, like a Bud Light, something
That's
like that.
why I like it.
They also brewed it the first time in their garage.
I'm not a beer snob, so that's why I like it.
I only know
what are you drinking over there?
Braxton was at our office. I have just finished off, and it has taken me a whole basketball season, but I have just finished off. I guess I started drinking it in football season too, but I have just finished off a bottle of Bearcat Bourbon. That's a bourbon infused with notes of orange peel and spice. It's 80 proof. You can't buy it here in Ohio. You have to go over to Party Source to purchase this. This is a good bourbon, guys.
It's Bearcat Bourbon.
Bearcat Bourbon.
That you can only get in Kentucky.
So it has nothing to do with the actual Bearcats.
Then they shouldn't be able to use the name.
Well, okay, but here it is. Bearcat is a 1920s slang term for a fiery spirited woman.
Are you a fiery spirited woman, Ed?
That's the name of my favorite basketball team. But hey, this is a good one. I can't see it right now. I have an ice ball that I put in for my bourbons and my whiskeys. It's now kind of a marble. You see that? But
nice.
It's as big as this cup. But
tee it up, bum of the week. Let's get us out of here.
Dude, that was way too okay.
That damn bum, you know that? Bum. A bum. You are a bum. You're a bum. And that's all you'll ever be. A bum.
Well, that hurts, man.
We're going on 2 hours, which is why I thought we would try and
wrap this up.
Yes,
I
sir.
like it.
We're at hour 38.
Going on 2 hours. So,
all right.
Bum of the week, who you got?
My bum of the week is Gen Z. Generation Z, those people, are trying to cancel Eminem. You can't cancel Eminem. A whole society tried to cancel Eminem back in the 90s, and it didn't happen. So your little TikTok videos and tweets and, your little TikTok dances and crap is not going to cancel Eminem.
They tried to shut him down on him. They tried to shut him down on MTV, but it felt so empty without him.
That's right. That's exactly correct. And if you try to cancel him down, you and that loud ass motherfucking dog better watch out.
That's not even the right lyrics.
I know. I totally screwed up the.
Too much Bearcat Bourbon. All right, go ahead, Aaron.
my bum of the week is JJ Watt for leaving the Texans to go to the Cardinals and not improving.
Who knows?
Solid. I'm gonna fall on the grenade myself here for being overly critical of one John Brannon and saying that there was no light at the end of the tunnel. What there is, I believe so now. So I will jump on the grenade myself and call myself the bum of the week because I was pretty hard charging against John Brannon and ready to say hire Nick Van Exel.
A close second for me was Russell Wilson for apparently trying to get out of Seattle.
Yeah, he tried to.
All they've done is won you a Super Bowl and got you to another Super Bowl.
Paid you a lot of money.
A lot of money. Like you're doing pretty good in Seattle. Better than 30 years of Bengals. Get out of here, Russell Wilson. Go play baseball if you're so unhappy. Money's guaranteed.
How do you feel about Cleveland, Aaron?
Which team? The whole city?
Yeah.
How do you
Cleveland
feel about Cleveland fans that say that they have it worse off than we do?
If you want to see what I think about Cleveland, look up Joakim Noah just raining shit upon Cleveland. As that video has become circulatory as Joakim Noah is retiring, and he just nobody goes to Cleveland to vacation. What's good about Cleveland? Yeah. Go look at that video. That's how I feel about Cleveland.
All right.
Take that, sir, yacht.
All right. I think that about does it.
It's gone completely off the rails.
It has.
All right. What?
I was just say send us out.
All right. So for Ed, for Jeff, I'm Aaron. This has been another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. Don't forget you can follow us at PTP Podcast Cincy on Twitter. That's where we're mostly active. Apparently we have an Instagram too. Ed controls all of it. I don't know. Also on YouTube, you can watch the entire video. It's going to be about the same as what you're listening to, just with a visual effect. We appreciate you. We're out.
Yep.